Welcome to the call, everybody. It's Kathryn Perry with One Command Seminars, and we've got Asara Lovejoy on the phone. Yay!
Hi.
How are you doing,
Listen, we are jamming because there is so much information to share tonight, and it is so powerful. This is part 2 of our clearing your beliefs to increase your cash, taking you down another level deeper than what we did in the original call. I was talking to Kathryn and saying, you know, we really cannot cover this often enough. There is so much to open our minds to see in a new way, and to embrace as a technique and a practice to be able to change our lives. And it's so effective when we do. Tonight, you're going to, you have slides developed, Kathryn, on the part 2. Part 1 we covered last week, and as you have on the little conference call, you can click on to listen to last week. You can get your bonus meditation, and you can, of course, review what we're doing tonight after the call. We'll send you an email with all that information automatically coming to your mailbox. So we already covered the 10 beliefs that are keeping you from creating money, and what's really behind those beliefs, and what you have to do, and how you have the power to change. That was part 1. Now part 2, we're going to show you a system of how you can uncover your own beliefs or programs that are the ones that are keeping you back, that you want to change. And we're going to show you how to stop the inner argument with your good, and how to instill the new positive feelings instead. All right, over to you, Miss Kathryn.
Okay, Asara. Well, this is a piece. I think that you are absolutely right, because that we can't go over it enough. And people, I know I used to get frustrated because they go, oh, it's your filters of reality. It's your perception. And then I would just always expect those guys from the Matrix to show up. You know, it's like, here's your red pill or the blue pill. And I go, yes, I know, but listen, you don't understand. This is different. Like, this is not a perception. This stuff really happened. And what we're really going to be inviting people to do is to have a new way to think about what it is that they've created, and how they're experiencing it. And the analogy that I gave to a class not too long ago is like, you know, if you have a splinter in your hand, you know, and Bonnie gave this analogy a long time ago where she said, you know, if you have this splinter, you talk about the splinter, you go show everybody your splinter, you tell them the story about the splinter, and then finally you decide you got to do something about the splinter because it's hurting so much. Well, now we're at that stage where we're investigating the splinter, and when you're looking around it, you're kind of pressing around and go, does that hurt? Is there any energy? What happens if I do this? And you're just observing and assessing. And that is the power of the One Command, that we are moving ourselves into a new position to just notice in a new way and start asking ourselves new questions. And we're not making ourselves wrong because we have a splinter. We're just dealing with it, and we're meeting it from this really neutral place. So this technique is one that I teach people in the seminars, and we work with one-on-one. And you and I have these kind of conversations all the time, so I just feel like people are getting into some of our back-end conversations that we have about things, and that's why I'm really excited about the Commanding Cash Success Club. Now, I just want to remind everyone that the call is being recorded, and you access the recordings by coming back to the same link you used to access the original call. And don't worry about taking notes. Just jot down that thought or a key phrase, and don't worry about memorizing or writing commands word for word. What's more important is to be present to the call, and then because you can listen to it over and over again, then you can make your notes. And I just want to do a quick little review about some of the 10 beliefs that people have, and which are still not in the correct order. We have our impossible ordering system, okay? So, but it says I, it, they will never change. It's not possible or probable. It's too hard. If it's easy, it doesn't count. some people have the knack or the luck, but I don't. Some of those little favorites that we have. I'm too much, or I'm too little, or too old, or young, set my ways, whatever. Oh, I just can't figure out the right thing to do. I'm just too confused. I had it once, but I lost it, or I never had it, so I can't have it now. I might achieve it, but I might just end up losing it anyway, and then ultimately I'm not good enough. And we talked about to adapt a new belief, habit, or attitudes and make a lasting change, you have to uncover that unmet need, the positive intention under the underlying program that supports the belief. And at first that sounds really easy. Yeah, that sounds like an easy thing to do, but it's tricky.
Yes, so stop there just 1 minute, because you really said something very powerful. And I want to slow down and break it out. So you just said to adapt a new belief, habit, or attitude and make lasting change, you must uncover the unmet need and the positive intention or the underlying program that supports the belief. Now let's explain a little bit about how there's a positive intention that supports the unmet need. I think we need to go over that again. Do you want to go for it?
Yeah. Well, I will go for it because my favorite way to think about it is, let's say that you have discovered that you have a fear of failure, that for some reason you want to go for it, you make all this efforting, and despite your best efforts and everything that you do, things fall apart. And you don't understand why you keep hitting that same wall over and over and over again, when there's something inside of you telling you to do it, to go for it. But then at the same time, there's this inner tension about, well, what if I can't? It's too much. What will my family say? And we have this little inner war. But what people don't understand is that we are designed ultimately for success. And if on the other side of any endeavor we perceive a loss, then we won't go for it. So let's say that we have an idea of a success, something that we want to achieve, but maybe we think that, hey, we might lose a relationship over it, we might lose privacy or freedom, or we'd be taking on way more responsibility than we're able to handle, and we could fail.
And then another one that another one I wanted to put in there was engagement with fear of it not coming out perfectly, and it being a reflection on you. And so you're overperforming, but you're like pushing yourself to overperform from a place of fear rather than a place of security and ease.
Right. So you're not putting that, when you hear the success people talk about, it's like, hey, you just go for it. Put the pedal to the metal, baby, and you roar and go. But you have to come from that authentic place that you know inside of you that you are a success and that you're meeting your success outside of you, that this is the next natural step. If what you're projecting out into the world is ultimately going to be failure, or that you have to have the success so that people don't know that you're a failure, then you've already failed. And it doesn't even matter what you achieve because you wouldn't be able to enjoy it anyway.
And not only that, but that unmet need of the positive intention of your unconscious mind to have people approve of you and think well of you is behavior that gets the opposite result. Every time that you're driving people away, even though your positive intention is to get approval and to have people speak well about you and to like you and to see you as a success. But when you are pushing and working so hard to make it happen by thinking that you have to control every aspect of what you're up to avoid that experience, the unconscious need unmet need of the unconscious mind, to avoid the pain of rejection or disapproval, will drive you to behaviors that become bizarre over time. So what
Yes.
we talk about is actually getting down to the unmet need so we can command at the deepest level within you of what the unmet need is lovingly and affectionately and with deep respect for your own unconscious programs that are been in place forever within you to help to support you, to protect you, and to get what you want in the world, but they don't work right now.
What's really behind the beliefs, simply put, our beliefs are what we are telling ourselves about what we're feeling. It's so simple, but we never really deal with what we're feeling. So think of that belief as a filter of reality, and I've got a little camera lens here, and it's just a filter of our reality. But really, isn't that what the beta brain is? When it's that small, narrow sphere of influence, and it's all it knows is what's been these predetermined parameters, and it is filtering our reality, and it's looking for everything that is a match in the outer world that matches our inner reality. I don't know if I said that clear enough, but it can only match. Yeah. It's only going to look for what matches.
In another way, you could say that you're looking through this filter, and we could create like 10 different filters on the page, and one of them would be you in a really nice atmosphere with a beautiful house and lots of cash around you. Another filter would be you poor, beggared, homeless, walking down the street. Another filter would be it's a small world and people would be lined up to harm you, push back against you, not support you. So these filters are programs that you look through to see reality on the outside of your inner experience, to go reflect out into the world. But the filter will only prepare you to see what you imagine is possible through this kaleidoscope of your belief system. And so you're looking out to, I'm going to go get a new job. I'm going to get more cash. I'm going to start a new relationship. I'm going to improve the quality of my life and raise the ceiling of my financial capability and make, five times more money than what I'm making right now. Great. That's great. Now you're clear on what it is that you want. And as you go forward until you make a change with your old filters, the only thing you can possibly see is the same result that you've always seen before, that you've always had a filter processing in your unconscious mind before. And now what we're doing with this One Command program is we are literally disengaging the images, pictures, feelings, and sensations, thoughts, and ideas about the limitations of that filter. And I just want to say one more thing, because I had this great session with a client last night on this very issue, and she was just raving about the fact that, Asara, my gosh, I can create anything. I can have the power to create anything. Oh, my God, that's just like so overwhelming to me. And I said to her, sweetheart, many people don't even ever have that thought, that they can create anything. And she said, well, it's so uncomfortable to think about that power as being mine, that I actually can change my brain, my biology, my neurology, and my filters of reality to see something that may be right there in front of me this very moment or around me in my life, and I could never allow that to be part of who I am. She says, that's really, really scary, but it's also really, really exciting.
Well, what I'm about to say may sound a little bit like one of those Rube Goldberg contraptions, but I want everybody to stick with me here. Your current filters of reality are based on an emotion, supported by beliefs, and run by programs with rules, habits, and protocols, all reinforced by your past experiences. And these limiting, and this happens with our positive beliefs too, are projected through your imagination into both your current and future situations. This is what we're talking about when you hear someone say, well, you're projecting your stuff on me. We're literally meeting the world. It's almost like we've got this movie playing, and the only thing we can see is what matches that movie. And this is how the mind is set up. And rather than trying to fight it, once we understand it, then we can start making the changes. But there's another way to say all of this. In other words, the way you see or do anything is the way you see or do everything. Now I'm going to let that sink in for a minute.
So
the way you
powerful.
see, it is, and it's simple. First, you know, I was on a teleconference, Asara. I think it was last year, and I was talking a little bit about this. I think it was probably one of the Wednesday morning calls or something. And I had just moved into my new apartment. The closet door's open, and I was talking about this idea. And I said, for example, I'm looking in my closet. We've just recently moved. The closet's pretty well organized, but there's still some boxes that are unpacked. My closet doesn't look the way I like for it to look. I can see stuff that I need, but I can't get to everything that I want. The minute I said that, a light bulb went off. I went, oh my gosh. I had been having a creative break, having a creative block, and it was like that idea was like there's this idea in my head, but I can't quite get it on paper. There's something I want to create here, but I can't quite get to what I want. And all of a sudden I went, ding, ding, ding. That's my filter of reality. And it got uncovered. My creative block that was stopping some money, stopping some solutions from arriving was mirrored perfectly in the experience I was having called my closet isn't done being unpacked yet.
Yes,
and we overthink this. We overthink it all the time. But if we look around in our ordinary experience, then we can get a clue to what is really happening. And so that's why I will say things like, you know, the state of your home reflects your inner reality, because maybe things are messy, or there's something you're trying to hide from, or there's something that you've got some energy blocked, or you date to the level of your self-esteem, but also you earn to the level of your self-esteem. If emotionally you always put yourself last, then guess what? You're going to train your bosses and your customers and your friends to pay you back last, to pay you last. And it all starts tying together.
Yeah. So another way of saying that is that the way you see or do anything is the way you see or do everything. Is that you? For example, a gal has just that I've been talking to has just gone through a divorce, and she says, for years my husband made me feel that I was worthless. He told me how I did everything wrong. And we know there's a lot of good husbands out there, so you're one of the good husbands listening to this. We know you're a good husband. And wives do the same thing to men. So in this example, that she was brought by her husband, and she said, and I'm in this new relationship, and he says everything good about me. He supports me, he likes me, he tells me how good it is. And he said, you know, I just have the worst time accepting that he's telling me the truth, that he means it. It's not easy for me to hear that I am, lovely, that I'm doing well, that I'm smart, that I can figure it out. She says, I just so used to seeing that experience. I met that experience everywhere in my life when I was married. It wasn't just my husband. It was like every job experience, every career experience, every time I started to be an entrepreneur experience. It was the same thing, that I would have that same emotional state created and recreated and recreated. So the good news is that every time you have a positive experience, a positive filter of reality, you create a new idea about reality for yourself, then you will meet that new idea everywhere as well. you will have people telling you everywhere how competent you are, how good you are, how successful you are, how they want to give you money, how they like that you already have cash and they want to give you more cash, or they don't think you have enough cash and they want to give you cash. So when you instill that program through the one command technique and the theta brainwave directly into your unconscious program system, and you're creating a new picture, image, feeling, and theater of reality internally within you. And that's what causes the experience outside of you, is to have that theater, that image, thought, feeling, and vision, and words inside of you that is now biologically hardwired, neurologically hardwired as your new filter of reality, because you're already doing it. You're already meeting yourself there with your filters of reality, so you see how easy it is to instill a new belief system for yourself and meet yourself there. And you just keep telling yourself the truth as you're going along, that, gosh, this is unusual. This is not what I'm familiar with. And now you can command, this is true. This is my new reality. I accept this. I'm sorry I go off on a rant, but, I get so excited.
I love what you're saying. I do, and I have a slide here. I wish I'd had the part 2 because I thought about it after I uploaded it, but I have a slide here that says the simplest way to uncover your limiting programs about money is to notice where else in your life you're experiencing that lack of limitation. But Asara, what you're saying, too, is to make the change, you have to notice and be in relationship with where it's not, not where you're not having the lack, where you're not having the limitations. So your client had to really learn how to be in that relationship with you're lovely, you're smart, you're intelligent. I had to learn to be in relationship with you're doing good, what a great job. You keep it up. I love when you tell me the truth. All of that.
And so in our hopes, wishes, dreams, and desires that let you know what you're capable of with that greater intelligence at yours. And we've said this over and over again. You don't have to go any further than this that you are thinking about, that you've imagined, that you want, that you have an emotional desire for, then that is what you're capable of, because if you were not already having that emotional desire for it, it wouldn't be in your reality. You wouldn't even be thinking about it, right? Go think about something you want to create that you don't know anything about. If I ask you that question, you'll just go, what? Right. So if you are thinking about something that you want, that means you already know how to have it. Now, what Kathryn has just said is that in the opposite direction, it's your frustration, judgments, and doubts exposed that let you know who you really are in your unconscious mind, what you really think you're worth, and what you're really afraid of. So the next slide. Yeah. So now it's easy to identify the positive programs. Now we're identifying what it is that lets you know what those unconscious programs are that are limiting you, that won't get into cooperation with what you want to do instead. And that's what we're going to look at tonight, is how to identify those and change them.
Yeah, there's such a simple way to determine that emotion behind the beliefs and the programs that are stopping you. And I'm just going to kind of have everybody stay with me for a little bit. And the technique that I use is called the I am statement. And you might have heard Asara, and we're going to go a little bit more into this, but you may have heard Asara say, when you've heard her work with people on the phone or in other classes, where someone would have a disagreement or they would be upset that things are not working well, not going well at work. And Asara would say, well, what in you feels like you aren't doing well? What in you? And that would work for me, but I would notice I would go off and be analytical. So this is that pressing around a little bit and assessing and observing. And for me, what really started working was starting to own the statement. And so let's just try this. Play along. And Asara, you're going to be my buddy since I was your buddy on another call. You're going to be my buddy on this, okay?
Okay, great.
Think about it, just some mundane area of your life where you're often frustrated. Like, you know, I was describing the closet before. Maybe it's dealing with traffic or utility companies, a cluttered house, or institutions or corporations. What's one of your little mundane areas that you get frustrated in?
I have things that need to be repaired and fixed, and I just can't ever seem to get to them.
You can't get to the repairs. Okay.
Yes.
Things need to be repaired and fixed. Okay. So you're saying there's things that need to be repaired or fixed, and you just can't get to it. Okay, yes. And so maybe if you're listening on the call, maybe you say things like, oh, they won't let me do A, B, or C, traffic's jammed up and stopped, or politicians lie to us, so there's never enough money or time. Those things that, Asara, that need to be repaired in the house and you can't quite get to it, why do you think it is that you can't quite get to it?
Well, when you said that, it's right away, I think, in the business, too, I project that, gosh, there's things that need to be implemented and fixed, and why can't we get it solved? So it's the same problem. It's the same feeling that I can't quite get to it, or it can't get done, or I'm not going to get what I want to have done.
So now we're going to personalize some of those statements you made. And someone's like, I can't get to it. I can't get to it. Just go ahead and say,
okay,
I can't get it done.
I can't get something in me fixed and repaired. I can't get my need. I can't find the needs to meet in me. I can't find. I can't relax into accepting the way the universe works in a good way for me. I want to reframe it right away into the positive, but
yeah, I'm not going to let
feeling.
You.
Okay, don't let me. All right, so it holds me back because I can't get to fixing what I need to repair in me, and I can't. And it can't be easy because I can't fix what needs to be fixed in me, and I can't go forward more smoothly and easily in my business because I can't implement the repairs and fixes I need easily. Yeah, it's the same feeling.
So think about the things that in your house that are broken. Think about what's broken. Okay? Things that they're not operating correctly. When something's not operating correctly, do we say, there's something wrong with this? Do we say, it's broken? Okay,
yeah,
so
I'm
going to have you just...
I'm broken. There's something wrong with me. I'm broken. There's something wrong with me.
Yeah, I can't breathe into that. Now, everybody who's on the call, I want you, those exact words, I'm broken, there's something wrong with me. And if you grew up different in your family and you got a very clear message that there's something wrong with you because you're not conforming, that's going to create a very deep emotional state. So we're just personalizing that statement. Thank you, Asara, for we always tell the truth about where we are. So we have a negative. Boy,
now you threw me right into process, and now all the other programs are up there that say, gosh, I was the youngest in the family. I never got what I wanted. My brother and my sister always got what they wanted, but they didn't care if I got what I wanted. I had to really suffer before I was given what I wanted. Oh, my gosh. Look at all of the richness that's coming up just by reflecting back with that original statement.
Yeah, and turning it into an I am. So here comes all of that bubbling, the histories, the stories. And so what we have people do in the workshop and what I have my clients do is just do a little quick drawing with a line down a sheet of paper. And I've got it on the slide here. And one side's negative and the other side's positive. So those little statements that were the I am statements, in this example I have, I won't let me do A, B, or C. I am jammed up. In Asara's case, we might write, I am broken. I am different. I don't get what I want. We would have those statements there. Okay? And notice how simple they are, and there's no story. There's something missing in this piece of paper that is so crucial. And that is the word because. Everything that would come after the word because is our belief, and it is not dealing with the emotion. And this completely bypasses the reason, the story, everything. And it gets us down to the essence of that emotion. And Asara, I'm going to get some just information about energetically when you think about I can't get what I want or I'm broken, it won't get fixed. When you think about that, where do you feel that in your body?
I feel it in my chest, my throat, and in my solar plexus. And actually, it's pretty generalized. My legs even get weak.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a step that I have people notice rather than trying to label the feeling with happy, sad, whatever. Just get that information about how you are physically experiencing it, because this is where we come back and we do the check. So the next time, what we do then is we just do the complete opposite. We just flip it. So Asara, instead of broken, what's the opposite of broken?
It is repaired and completely operational.
Completely operational. It is complete. Maybe that. Maybe it is complete.
Yeah,
it is whole.
It is complete.
How about, yeah.
It's complete. There's something about operational that's important to me. So I want to say it's completely operational.
Okay, I am completely operational.
I am completely operational.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I only know I am completely operational. Yes.
You know what I like too? I like operating perfectly. I mean, so many people have the idea that the way they function or the way they do things or the way they process is wrong. But how about that you are functioning perfectly? I am operating perfectly, just as I am.
I don't know. I am operating perfectly just as I am. I don't know how my environment is operating perfectly just as it is. I don't know how my business is operating perfectly just as it is. I don't know how I'm operating perfectly just as I am. And then I don't know how my business is completely operational. I don't know how my home is completely operational. I don't know how I am completely operational. I only know I am now, and I'm fulfilled.
Good. And what we're doing on this little exercise for everybody is we've taken the negative statement and we are just doing a complete flip. So on the slide, we have, I won't let me do A, B, or C. The opposite, and stated positively, is I am free to do as I please. Instead of I'm jammed up and stopped, I am moving and flowing. Instead of I keep lying, I keep telling the truth. Instead of I am never enough, I am more than enough. And we just do the simplest flip. Now, if you notice, Asara goes right into processing it, and she's making the statements, but she's already meeting it and testing it. So I just want you to notice that she's already trying them out. She's doing a little rehearsal, and she's preparing herself. And this is a kind of a little pause that I want to just invite everybody to do, is we have already kind of started to identify some things for you. And maybe this I am broken, I'm not operational, those types of phrases seem to be applying to people who are on the call, because there's never a mistake, Asara, about what comes up. And winds up speaking to everybody. So thank you. I just want to acknowledge your courage. And this is why I love Asara, everybody, because Asara is 1,000% honest about who she is and what her experience is. And you don't get that from other gurus. They're always trying to puff it up and show how perfect they are. But Asara tells the truth about herself. Okay? All right. So now we have these positive statements, and we're not going to do a check on them yet, but I think that we would agree that if we were to go through the negatives, there'd still be some sting in energy, but it's already starting to move a little bit just because you've already started meeting a new idea. Then we're going to do the commands based on everything on that positive side, and this is what we're talking about when we are instilling new empowered beliefs. This is what we're talking about. It's not just pulling out those old beliefs and getting them out of here. We are actually creating a new idea, and we're going to be instilling it, which means bringing it into every level of your experience, past, present, and future. So, Asara, I'm just going to walk you up right quick, and everybody, if you're on the, go ahead and just prepare, because you've got an idea of where we're going with this. So I'm going to just go ahead and do a quick walk up to Theta. So just close your eyes and ground. Bring up the earth energy. Bring your attention to your heart as you're aligning to your purpose. And you know that love in your heart that becomes illuminated? But go ahead and let that love go deep down to that little girl who was the youngest of those big, powerful, bossy kids, whole family of directors and leaders. Just let that little girl right go. Get all that love. Good. And your little boys, everybody who's on the call, your little self. There we go. Now roll your eyes up and just go ahead and go right up to Theta. Go up to that white light place that is so familiar to us by now. And we are going to silently state our commands, and they're going to be the ones that are positive. So I'm going to base them on Asara's and what's on the slide here. Eyes up. I don't know how I came to be fully operational and functioning at optimal levels. I only know that I am whole, I am complete, and I am operating perfectly now, and I am fulfilled. Just let that go. And I don't know how I am free to do as I please, and I might add, I don't know how I am free to do as I need to take care of myself. I don't know how I am moving and flowing with my good. I only know I am now, and I am fulfilled. I don't know how I am able to keep telling the truth and I keep accepting only the truth. I only know I am now and I am fulfilled. And I don't know how I know I am more than enough on every level of who I am. I only know I am. I am now and I am fulfilled. And just let your eyes relax this moment. Let all that expand out to an idea greater that serves more good. Let that expand into so that you can begin to gain a whole new perception, a whole new filter of your reality, of your experience. And as you're feeling yourself coming in, back into your body, into a new position inside of yourself, let's go ahead and unwind those old movies, those old filters, those old ideas about being stopped, about being broken, about being not good enough, those old ideas about who you are. And let's just rewind these new thoughts, images, feelings, hold new memories, hold new imaginings about who we are and what's possible. Bring your attention back to your heart. When you're ready, open your eyes. Good, good. And Asara, when that feels complete, let me know.
Oh, that feels just so operational. I feel so great.
Okay, so
yeah, it's moving around in my body. You know, it's like the good operating system is moving in my body. Boy, just watching the operations take place easily and effortlessly is amazing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think everybody can relate to that. You know, hey, I want this, but it's not working. I got to get that, but there's this. So I think that that's really true. So now what we do is we go back and we check both the positive and the negative statements, because what we're looking for is to see if there's any energy on the old negative statement, okay? So it would be, hey, we went right down into I'm not functioning, I'm broken, I am broken.
No. No energy there at all.
Things are not working right for me. Can you find that?
No energy. No energy there at all. Mm-mm.
What about I'm not going to get what I want? Can you find that?
Nope. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Not at all.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact,
so
I'm actually having a different feeling in my body while you're making those questions. It's almost like ha 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 ha.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's not me. It's like nope, nope, nope. And so that's the way we check it. Then we come back and we check the positive statements, and we're checking to see if they feel true. So I am fully functional. And what was it? I am fully functional.
And I operate perfectly. Good, strong, yeah. I'm just like seeing this amazing operation, flow. I'm seeing people in the house repairing things. All kinds of new thoughts, feelings, and images are just flooding in.
So now what we do is we stay with the process until all of the negatives are neutral and all of the positives feel true. And what I love about this simple little process is, we're meeting our negative programs, but let's say that you've got some good qualities that you want to instill to, experience to a greater degree. That you have flashes of creativity, or there's times that you have a lot of energy. Well, you could put in, I don't know how I came to be, even more creative, even more energetic. But then you could put the opposite word in about why you think you're not creative or why you're not energetic. And it's so simple and beautiful. But tonight, I want everybody this week, and actually until we get to our next call, to be playing with this technique. Asara, I just want to get your feedback. How are you doing ever since we did that process? I want to get your feedback or anything.
Oh my gosh! It's just one command works, and right away you are in this business with me, and you know what I am talking about in terms of that resistance to new operations that I've always had. And now in this little session, within 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you identified the underlying beliefs that have been negatively affecting my getting the results that I'm after, even with the greatest desire of the results that I wanted. And I'm just excited because I absolutely know this process of change will look like operations getting put in place very easily and quickly on the other side of identifying my unconscious resistant programs. And they just come from that little girl self of mine that really had those feelings when she was a child. But they're totally inappropriate in terms of building the bigger business. And we know already that there's a lot of operations in place that work beautifully, but that's not what we were addressing tonight. Tonight we're addressing those specific thoughts, feelings, and emotions of mine that were making it harder and more difficult for me than it needed to be to grow my business. And each one of those beliefs, when they're changed and redirected, now gives me that energy to go forward with open potential of creating that operations and mini operations easily, enjoyably, in perfection for the greater good of my business, and even operations that I don't even know about yet coming in that'll do the same thing. Yeah. So, when you ask me for an answer, I'm sorry, I'm so excited I have to go on and on. But literally, that is what happens to everyone when you change a belief, is that now you're redirecting your life force energy into a positive avenue of potential. And I am ready and waiting for it to show up. I'll be so excited, and I report back the next conversation we have of the results.
And I'm laughing because Asara and I did a call with our One Command leaders, and I got thrown into process. It's like, okay, this is so on this one. So, I want to say, too, I want to reiterate one other thing that we stated at the beginning, that there's a positive intention. And beyond your own self-protection, which everybody kind of starts going worried about that, what also came out of this was a greater commitment that things are done right and on time, and it increased your determination. And so those became like energetic muscles that got built. And so now all of that energy has like been waiting, and it's kept creating more and more clarity and simplifying and bringing it forward. So we get to keep that intention of wanting to take that message and bring that to the world, but then all of those old behaviors and those strategies now get retooled so that
as you're even talking right now, let me tell you the underlying positive intention of the opposition was that because I am so familiar from my childhood of being neglected and put down and being the last chosen, the strategy of my unconscious mind is to not get seen, is to be hidden and not be very big. So the growth in the business and in my success and in the one command around the world would annoy that old belief system. That old belief system would say, gosh, you're breaking that rule that you're not supposed to be visible and you're not supposed to step out. So that was the underlying belief that was supporting my resistance that was called not getting it done with operations. So there's always, a core identity issue that will often be uncovered at the same time that you're working with your levels of beliefs.
Absolutely. Well, my goodness, we have gone so deep, and I just want to thank everybody